Hello everyone, today we will discuss Pappus-Goldinus theorem. This theorem is related to the revolution of surfaces and solids and their center of mass. Suppose I have a semicircular ring like this. Now I can rotate this about any of these axes. I choose this one. So this creates a surface. Now using this theorem I can calculate the area of this surface using the center of mass of that curve, and I will show you how it's done. Center of mass is one of the most important ideas of physics. Now what is it? Suppose I have this object, any random shape, and this object has a mass of m. Now I can consider a point on which the whole mass is concentrated, and I can treat that point as the center of mass, like this yellow one, and I can apply all physics to that particular point and consider this object as a point object. Why? Because as you know that Newton's law are mostly considered for point particles, but most of the objects are not point particles. So how we apply the physics on those objects? Well, simply we just use the idea of center of mass and apply the physics on that particular point. But what about rotation? How can we apply that idea of rotation? For an example, let's consider a point or a ball, that is the blue one, and I will consider a rod here, and I will also draw an axis which goes through the center of mass of that rod, this one. Now if I apply a force on that ball and it hits it along the center of mass of this rod, you see that there is no rotation, just the rod shift its position, that is there is pure linear motion. Now what will happen if I move the ball off center of mass and hit the rod again? As you can see, in this case there is some shift and also a rotation, that is the pure rotation about the center of mass. So using this idea of center of mass, I can analyze the object and their rotation. Now let's find how to calculate center of mass. Now to find the center of mass of different bodies, we can use a formula something like this. This formula is only used for discrete bodies, like a group of particles. Now what about continuous bodies? Well, for them we can just replace the summation symbol with a integration, something like this. So this is the formula for continuous bodies. But we can't just use these two formulas, because let's just accept it that the integrations are very hard, and in exams you can do that because they take very long time. Like bodies like these bodies are very important, like this semicircular ring. Or you can just assume another body, something like this, that is a semicircular disc. Now in this video I will introduce you a idea which you can say that it is a tool to find the center of mass of different bodies. And remember that it is a tool and not a trick. So now in this video we will understand this trick, and we will first see a property of center of mass to find the center of mass of different objects. There is a hidden symmetry in center of mass. Suppose I have a body which is symmetric about a axis or a plane, like this butterfly. It has an axis of symmetry, that is this one. What I mean is that if I reflect or flip the butterfly with respect to the axis, it will be same as before. If a body has this kind of symmetry, then the center of mass of that body will be on the axis, like in this case the yellow dot here. Now what will we do if we have a body which has a plane of symmetry? For an example, let me draw the 3D axis here. Now I will draw a sphere. As you know, a sphere has a infinite planes of symmetry. Now if it has a plane of symmetry, like in this case this red plane, then the center of mass of this body will be on this plane. This symmetry idea of center of mass is very important, and always remember this. It will help you in solving many problems. So now let's understand the theorem itself. Now suppose I have this 3D axis, and the green one is the axis with respect to which I will rotate the curve or the surface. Now suppose I have this curve, any random shape, and remember that the axis about which you will rotate the curve should always be outside the curve. Now suppose the length of this curve is L, and let's mark the center of mass of this curve here, and let's suppose that the center of mass is r of COM distance away from the axis of rotation. That is, what I mean is that the line joining the center of mass of this red curve to the axis is RCOM. Now I can rotate the curve along the or with respect to the axis, and it will create a surface as shown. So as you can see, it rotated a surface because of the rotation. Now from the theorem, I can say that the area of the surface which I have gotten by rotating the curve is equals to the length of the curve, that is the red curve, into the distance traveled by the center of mass, that is the length of the yellow circle. That is, the area equals to L times 2 pi RCOM. Now what do you think will happen if in place of the curve, the red curve, I have a two-dimensional lemma like this? As you can see that in this case I am getting a solid object, that is something that has a volume. I mean there is some meat inside the 3D shape. Now in this case we have volume as well as area. So in this case the Pappus theorem will give us the volume of this purple shape. That is, the volume of this region is the area of the 2D shape, that is our original 2D lemma, times the distance traveled by the COM, and it gives us volume equals A, that is area of that surface, times 2 pi RCOM. And now let's use this formula to find center of mass of few objects. Now let's find the center of mass of a semicircular ring using those theorem. Suppose I have this semicircular ring, and also suppose that this ring has a radius of capital R. Now as you can see that this ring has a axis of symmetry along the white axis, so I can flip about this axis and it will be always the same. So the center of mass of this ring will be somewhere on this axis. Here the yellow one is the center of mass. Now remember that we should take a axis outside of this shape, so I have taken the yellow axis. Now let's suppose that this center of mass position from this axis is y of c. That means that the yellow line, the line joining the axis and the center of mass here, has the length of y of c. Now let's shift our view to the 3D to better understand the situation. Now I will rotate along the axis, and you can see that it is creating a sphere which is hollow. So we have to assume its area. So now let's apply the theorem. So you see that I have a sphere which is hollow. So using the first theorem I can write that the area of this hollow sphere, because it is hollow so I am taking the area, equals to the length of the red curve into the length or the distance over the center of mass, and manipulating it I get the result, that is 2r by pi. Now my question is, what we have get if I have taken a semicircular disc? Well, in that case I will have a solid sphere, so I will have to take the volume. So this is the equation, and the first term represents the volume of the sphere we get by revolution of a semicircular disc. The second term represents the area of the semicircular disc, and the last term, that is 2 pi y of c, here it represents the distance traveled by the center of mass. So it just same, just I have used the second theorem, and manipulating it I will get our desired result, that is something like this, 4r by 3 pi. Now my question is, what will we get if I have a hollow sphere? So for that case I will give you a general formula, this, and I hope you will not get this formula anywhere else. So just see this, and here those are the gamma functions, and you can use these two formula and try to prove this theorem or this formula. Now if I put here n equals to 1, so I will get the center of mass of semicircular ring, and if I put n equals to 2, then I will get hollow semisphere, and for n equals to 3 I will get a semicircular disc, and for 4 I will get solid hemisphere. So now try to justify why it is alternating in 2D and 3D, and why not find the right angle triangle center of mass using this theorem. So bye, see you later.